Because you've got me coming back twice, and I thought, well, I'll just stay put up there.
Well,
And
unfortunately,
listen? Yeah, you can listen, but you'll still talk. Watching is how I do. No, right, yeah, but no, but that's what I was saying, I'll be able to listen, and then I'll know when it's about my turn. Yeah, instead of me sitting back there. Okay, I will be right back. Everybody, you're live on Facebook right now?
I got the big radar sign, put together, then I want to buy one of them, going out there. I want to pick back 300 coming down here, where the street, and another near the county line.
I will log in and then, we're gonna,
About 1,500.
Very end of John Henry
we're
Road.
Madison.
And the thing about it is, they're so hard.
There's actually two parts.
I'll get a minute. Yeah. If I get close, it's not enough.
No, I would like to see that.
Yeah, well, I've done, when I bought the original stuff, they had sales involved. I don't need no other fish.
I'll just have to remember not to log in, I'm trying to do, or I'll kick you off.
On the, in the budget.
I think you need to
And we don't know where it, I'm not getting an address.
just scroll down until I get where you need to Okay, I think you're right on.
They get out there and they got a
It says you're restricted,
Yeah, it's way on.
so the other direction.
You're right.
Oh, it's towards Normandy?
No, is that towards Normandy?
Yeah, this is Normandy down here. You went the other way?
Yes.
10 or 11, you know.
And you had to hide it.
why aren't we seeing that on the
Because it just hasn't done it yet. Hold on. Let me find it. No, I was wrong, Jim. Unless it flipped on me, it's good at that too. Alright, there's Blair Road.
Keep on going. All the
Am I
way
going to Indian
Yeah.
Bridge or whatever?
I know it's been a while,
A long walk.
but one day at a time, that's all you
I can
can do.
get her to quit running over you. You can probably have a better time.
I know she didn't do it on
If you want
purpose.
to go to a particular spot, what I'll do is I'll take a picture of it, and then she'll be able to just keep it, and we won't have to worry about it going out.
You're sitting there and all of a sudden it just.
Okay, right in this area.
You're going forward and you put it in reverse and.
No, it's in the rear too, though.
And I'm screaming and it's on the ground and. Of course,
That just happened.
it threw me out on 44. I'm up on 44, not going further than the gator's going off by itself.
Here's the sheriff.
But don't let it run down there and hit him again. And
Road, that point to here, we want to this one.
Okay.
That's.
No.
That's what.
No, you're right here.
So like this one.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
I tried calling you multiple times, and then with your picture the other day.
Me too.
Keep me out of trouble.
Well, I don't either. You know, I turkey hunt out every morning. Turn my phone down. So the turkeys can't hear.
Right.
It's been a while since we got through one of these too.
I didn't know it was a mess, so I'm not told them much to do, save it somewhere.
They tell me all the time, they Charlie once in a while, talk to me on the phone or something once in a while. but Everybody just stays in their own little world right now. If you don't know what's right or wrong, you do it. And I'm hoping that's okay.
I'm glad I heard somebody say that.
Oh, is this still talking? Somebody's
Okay, I've got 9 o'clock, let's go get started.
Father God in heaven, we thank you for this another opportunity. Thank you for this day. Thank you for all you give us each and every day. We thank you for answering our prayers about the pandemic that finally seems like it's coming to a close. We appreciate you answering our prayers on that issue. As we be with us today, guide and direct us in all that we do, and give us the wisdom we need to make decisions. In Jesus' name we pray.
Okay, well, it's been a long, long time, so does everybody include Brian for the pledge? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and their Kentucky. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one commonwealth, under diversity, unity, and grace from on high. Where to go? It is Monday, May 3rd, 9 o'clock. We are at last back to live meetings. Welcome everybody. If the clerk will please call the roll.
Squire Brewer.
Present.
Squire Mike Moody.
Present.
Squire Peterson.
Here.
Judge Riley.
Here.
Squire Travis.
Here.
Squire Jerry Moody.
Present.
Okay, we're ready to do business. First item of business is approval of the minutes of our court meeting.
Motion to approve any corrections.
All right. Got a motion?
I'll second it.
And seconds for Brewer. Anybody have any corrections? I've got one that pertains to, let's see here, it was on page page 7.
Oh, you looked at
Yeah, this is your letter, Squire Travis, and only the first page of that letter is the second page.
first gauge of this.
I did, okay, good. All right, any other corrections? Call the roll, please.
Squire Mike Moody.
Yes.
Squire Peterson.
Yes.
Judge Riley.
Yes.
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody. Squire Brewer.
Yes.
All right. Next is communications from the judge executive. A couple things I just want to mention. The census numbers came out for apportionment for state. However, the local census numbers won't be available until somewhere in the end of September. However, the legislature acted at the last minute of the session to amend the bill to address the statute that requires us to redistrict, I think, in March. Well, we don't have the census number. So this emergency legislation that we passed allows us to wait until next year to do our local redistricting. But the elections will be based on the current magistrate district. So that won't change, but we will have to redistrict first part of next year. The Spears Drive project, we had a final walkthrough last week. We expect that to hopefully complete that project and get reimbursement. I want to mention that May 6th, Thursday, May the 6th, there's a National Day of Prayer celebration on the courthouse steps. If it rains, it will be at the Saturday, May 8th, there's a Crusade Charity motorcycle run that was being sponsored by the fire department to raise money for Crusade. So that's all I've got. And I'm going to move to communications from citizens. Anybody wish to address the board or Charlie? All right.
I've been threatened.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway.
You've been threatened?
Yeah, I've been threatened.
Well, I hope not. I don't know that that's,
Just by his wife.
I don't think that's working.
Yeah.
Did y'all turn the microphones on up there?
Uh,
Did you turn the microphones on up there behind you?
Yeah, these are on, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm Charles Jewell. I guess everybody knows I live at 4910 down Washington Road. And we got a proposal from the dollar store, $4,900, which is like about 100 foot back. The drive's gonna be about 100 foot from mine. And I've been concerned about the safety of it. I know the highway department has approved it, but sure yet, I told some of them to back them out concrete drive. And sat there for 5 minutes or sat there to see some cars go into Waterford. And you don't see them until you see about that bunch of the roof of the car down there. If you pull out, you're really in. So it's not really a safety place to do it. But anyway, and also after the day after planning and zoning had the meeting with on Bardstown, and I saw this building over there. I said, "My gosh, I gave you $1 store." Sure enough, it was brick all the way up. Instead of the aluminum siding on the side. So I don't know why we couldn't request the dollar store to put in something similar to that building, to what they got at the Cox's Creek and in Sextonville. Because they've got a decent looking building. It's got a metal building on the side. It's brick all the way up and down. So I just thought maybe it's a good, somebody planning zoning to request that kind of building. A whole lot more attractive than just a type building. I know there's been a lot of requests on planning zoning meeting to for their dollar store to change the requirements, but they've done some of them that I don't know what they've got done on according to the style of building they have. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else wish to address the court? All right. We're going to move on. Next up is communications, reports from members, other offices, and committees. I want to change up the agenda just a little bit. The sheriff has got an obligation, so I'm going to have him go ahead and make his presentation a bit out of order so that he can go on and attend to what he needs to attend to.
And thank y'all for allowing me to kind of jump in here. I'm cooking ribeyes for the staff at the middle school. So trying to do good community things. I've done this I did it for 2 years. Of course, last year nothing happened. So they called me back and said, "Will you still do it?" And yeah, yes I will. So here we go. Anyway, I think you got in your packet this quote from STAT. This is a locally owned company. They live, there are 2 Louisville Metro officers that have started this company also. And we had, ever since I've been in office, I've been wanting to do a school shooting scenario. Hopefully it will never happen. It did happen in Marshall County, and I did speak at length with that sheriff that was the sheriff at the time of that. And he said we had people from everywhere come, but it's a chaotic situation, and they've changed a lot of ways for doing school shootings. When the Columbine shooting was done, it was secure the scene and wait to see what happens. Anymore, it's more get in, find where the shooter is, EMS fire behind you, triage people as you come to them, get them out as quick as you can, take out the shooter as fast as you can, whether it's, you take them into custody or you got to take them out. So I've got guys on my staff that can probably teach this. We really don't have time to put it together the way I want it to. And if we leave out a detail or something, then there is a school shooting and somebody comes back, "Well, you didn't even teach this part of it." And it's kind of liable on us. So that's why I wanted to go with a professional company that does this for business from law enforcement professionals, and they will supply the guns, the ammunition, which is is, when you first go into that school shooting, maybe this training will take a little bit of the edge off where it's not, oh, heck, what I do now. Instead, it's okay, this is my training, this is what we do, this is how we do it. When I get finished, I want to have an aerial view of every single one of our schools, ingresses and egresses, you know, how to get in, how to get out, where the fire department should stage on this one, where the EMS should stage on this one, where the law enforcement is going to be entering. You know, this is just a plan we need to have in place to protect our community, and hopefully we'll never use it. Hope it's just wasted paper, but we want to be prepared. Anyway, this company, their normal price for this would have been $7,000. But since they are local, one of the guys has his grandchildren who went to the high school. They gave us a 20% discount, going around $5,600. The sheriff's office is committed to put in $1,500 from our drug task force fund. I'm asking the same from y'all, and $1,500 is more than we probably need, but I just want that little bit more commitment in case there's incidentals that come up. We won't spend a dime more than we absolutely have to. I have talked to the city. The city is, Brian's respecting it to him next Tuesday night, I think. He's on board, he wants to do it. Of course, our school resource officers, which are furnished by the city, will be some of our first people. They will be the first people on being on the school system. So they will be included and be a very integral part of that. And our radio systems, and now we can all talk to each other on, is a step in this direction. I want us, if the county can come up with $1,500, their part, the fire department has done committed their $1,500. I'm going to approach the school board and ask them for $1,500. So when you break that down, divide it up, and that's 5 agencies. If y'all think of somebody else that would, you know, I'm thinking that's covering anybody that really benefits overall. If y'all think of somebody else, that'd be great. It comes to $1,120, but I thought we did $1,500 apiece. And nobody's going. We only got to put up half, a 50% deposit, $2,800 prior to everything, and then the other part's paid after. A nice thing about this class, there are going to be 3 classrooms. One of them is for fire department and EMS, and then 2 of them, I believe, will be for school staff and the general public. You know, if anybody wants to come. And this isn't just school shooting. This is what the shooting happened in the country like. And it can happen. I mean, it happens everywhere. 50 years ago, we didn't report about that, did we, Jerry? But it's just a different day. And then they'll be doing scenario training for law enforcement, and then they'll do all the setup, all the cleanup, and everything. And Nathan Nation has given us permission to use their classroom on some of this. I hope that one of the classes is so big, I've got to find a bigger class. You know, I hope the community gets behind it that much that they want to come and hear and listen and everything. So
I don't think there's any question the community is going to be behind this.
I can't imagine not.
You need a commitment from fiscal court for $1,500.
That's just
I'll
all.
make that motion that we approve $1,500 for this training. We've got a motion and we've got a second. Is there any other discussion?
Sure.
Yes.
Scott, are you going to include the director of operations, who's the safety coordinator?
Oh, absolutely.
Facility manager?
Oh, yes. I mean,
okay, good.
I'm not going to intend to leave anyone out. Everyone needs to be included. You know, just like I said, the school resource officer is going to be on the scene if it happens, probably, or at a school that they're going to soon respond. And I want each principal, each assistant principal, director of operations, all that stuff. We all need to come together and have a powwow, and not only before, but after.
Right.
Okay, what we do right, what we do wrong, what we want to change, what we need to do going into the future. That, you know, and I'm not saying we need to do this every year, but these are perishable skills. You know, it's just the way it is when you do training, and then you haven't done it for 5 or 6 years, and you go, okay, how do we do that? You know, so this is something that I want to keep going, like maybe a small local tune-up, which we can do that. You know, stay on top of it if we want to be able to do that. My plan was doing it last year, of course, nothing happened last year.
Any other discussion?
The state police be involved.
Yes, they will be invited. That'll be up to them, absolutely. Because if things go down, I know that that sheriff down there told me they had 40 miles away, they have to show that. You know, when it goes bad, everybody comes to the call. And we said we had plenty of people, but still, no direction. Really no direction.
Okay, I've got a question about the accounting of this. Will this be paid for by fiscal court and then the other entities reimburse fiscal court?
Is that how you want to do it?
Well, that was what I was gonna ask, if we needed to pay
I don't care.
the 5,600 and then everybody else reimburse us.
However y'all want to do it, you don't have to pay, but the 2,800 now. How y'all want to do it?
I just want to make sure that we please the auditors and.
Yeah, I don't them officers.
I kinda think it'd be
People
better
I'm
for
really
us
touching that.
to reimburse from the others probably, but I think it would be better probably if we paid and then we were reimbursed for the fire department and
Okay.
the other, you know.
Okay, now I haven't got the commitments from everybody.
Okay,
But,
as you do.
the school district is the one that I haven't really even talked to yet, directly. Everyone else I have talked to and mentioned to, and they're all behind it. And so I'm sure the school system, I would think would embrace it totally.
In that case, I'm wondering if we should amend the motion to, I'll tell you, let me rescind my motion and you rescind your second, okay? My motion then would be to approve the training and approve payment of $5,600 by fiscal court.
Okay.
And that portions of that will be reimbursed by fire department, schools, city, I'm not sure who else is going to be kicking in on that, but that would be my motion too.
I'll second that motion.
We've got a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
And I would invite you gentlemen to come observe, you know.
Yeah, it's
we'll
been
have-
6 years since we've done a tabletop exercise.
Yeah, and, so, like I said, I wanted to do it the first year I came in office. We were busy the first year, and, you know, then we got into COVID, so here we are. But, it's always been on the burners, just now we get to burn. So, thank you gentlemen so much, I'm over the park, y'all have a nice day, and thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot. Okay, there is one other thing I'd like to add to the agenda at this point under quotes, under new business. I've passed out a couple of quotes for striping of the water park parking lot. Those came in late. We're not able to, in fact, one of them just came in this morning. Just wanted to go ahead and try to get approval on that when we get to that item on the agenda, so we can go on and get that parking lot striped. So with that, I'm going to move on. Also want to mention that our hearts and prayers go out to the county attorney who's dealing with a difficult issue right now, so just wanted to mention that. So with that, let's move on to zoning, readings and recommendations.
Good morning. I have two second readings today. The first is the application of Betty D. Marksberry requesting Ag 1 agricultural to R1 residential on 1.98 acres located at 3740 Love Lane. Commissioner Fowl made the motion to recommend to fiscal court the application of Betty D. Marksberry requesting zone change from Ag 1 agricultural to R1 residential on a 1.98 acre tract of land located at 3740 Love Lane. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends low density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. There was no one on Zoom to speak against it. Commissioner Wheatley seconded that motion. Motion carries.
That's the second reading.
Uh-huh.
Motion to approve recommendation of planning and zoning based on the facts and findings of the planning and zoning board.
Got a motion?
Second.
And we've got a second. Call the roll, please.
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody.
Yes.
Squire Brewer.
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody.
Yes.
Squire Peterson.
Yes.
Judge Riley.
Yes. And next,
Okay. Our second reading for Travis Farms, Inc. for Susan Lee Cox requesting Ag 1 agricultural to B2 commercial on 1.94 acres located in the 4900 block of Mount Washington Road. Commissioner Fowl made a motion to recommend to rezone the application of Travis Farms, Inc. for Susan A. Cox, requesting zone change from Ag 1 agricultural to B2 commercial on a 1.94 acre tract of land located in the 4900 block of Mount Washington Road. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends mixed use. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. Further discussion, they would like to put dining elements into the recommendation. On the buffering, an internal lit monument sign, no flashing lights, and the pole light will shut off at 10 p.m. The rest of the lighting is on the building facing downward. The width of the entrance at this time is to be 36 feet, no less. The exterior front is brick wrapping the corners, the rest is metal. Garbage in the back fenced in with a locking gate, and recommended they follow up on a traffic study and determine why KYTC, if a turning lane is wanted or not, and the commission will accept KYTC's ruling. Commissioner Wheatley seconded that motion. A little additional discussion was for the recommendation of the traffic study. They requested a formal letter from KYTC directed to the planning commission that this would not proceed to fiscal court until it was received. That has been received, otherwise I wouldn't be here. That motion, let's see, was second by Commissioner Clayton. Motion carried.
And would anybody like to make a
And
motion?
what was the findings of the survey of the,
KYTC, that no turning lanes were warranted.
I make a motion that we approve the zoning of 4900 Mount Washington Road based on the findings and facts and recommendation of planning and zoning.
Got a motion?
I'll second that.
Well, hang on, let's get a second.
We got a second.
Who's second?
I'll second.
Okay. Support. Davis.
Technical, I'm the language engineer, elected. I couldn't speak on it. We had a lot of complaints and had a lot of investigation. And what I'm seeing that Spencer County is being treated like a third world country. If you go to Nelson County, out in the middle of nowhere, they got a nice brick building, all sides and everything, all brick, out in the middle of nowhere. You go to Simpsonville, they got nice. They built one in downtown Tillage, about a block, sitting next to a multi-million-dollar brick school across the street, a new building, the medical center down there, it's great. And I think the world of the dollar store company, that they are taking advantage of us. And I am no longer going to be a rubber stamp for planning and zoning to put this stuff up. You go by their stores, after they've been in business for a little while, you'll see their cardboard on their things lined up and cards all over the place. And it is not good for the benefit of the property owner that has houses there, and then that field next to there is eventually going to be developed because it's good flat land, it's easy development, and it's going to lower the grade of that. And we need to stand up, and we welcome businesses to come in, but we don't want to build buildings that pull the property value down of other people. And I've had several complaints on this. Not that they don't. I'm saying, we want the dollar store, but we want them to live up, we want them to make money, and we want to prosper.
Jerry, the same issue came up with the Little Mount one, with what was originally proposed, and the people came back, said, no, we want brick, we want landscape, and we don't want a big tall sign. So we have a lower sign, we have brick front, you know, they put in some trees around it and made it nicer. And we got good management up there, so the cardboard, I understand it gets to be nasty after a while, but the management up there does a real good job on keeping it clean.
And I have never seen a picture. This is one of my district is across the street.
Sure.
The paper listed as my district, it is not my district, it's Kansas. I have never seen a picture of what they're planning to build. Although I do know it's a wrap, and it's gonna be metal down the side. Now, who wants that in there? You know, I mean, they're making big money, and we welcome them, but we want a nice building. These people that invested money in their houses, they work, they're retired, and they don't need their property values going down. They need their property values going up. And I'm voting no, send it back to planning and zoning, and do what the people want out there. Thank you for letting me talk.
Really, the front of the building is brick.
Yes, I do have a picture rendering up there. The front is brick, it is to wrap around on
brick
the
is to
side
wrap
a little bit, but it won't be the whole side. They are gonna do a privacy fence around it, and on the inside of that fence will be trees. They do have landscaping, all along that and along the front. They did agree to the lower sign, so it's not gonna be a big pole sign. The only, light that will be on a pole is going on by the road for safety. Every other, light will be on the building itself.
Pointed in a direction that will not affect across the street or down
Right,
the road. or anything like
it's
that.
my understanding the lighting will not go on other property. It will be tilted downward to stay onto their property for security purposes. And then the pole sign is supposed to be on a timer to where that light will go out, the one out by the street will go out at 10.
Yeah, I agree with Jerry, and, you know, the cost difference between what the metal's gonna cost to put on the back and the two sides versus brick, you know, it's gonna cost to put the metal on there. So there's not gonna be that much of an increase to the brick, so I would agree with Jerry on that.
And their brick isn't true brick, I'll tell you all that. I've learned that over the course of time. They have like brick panels is what they put on all of their buildings. It's not like they go out there and have a masonry through brick it like they do a house. They're like brick panels that they put on their buildings. Even the stone on them is the same thing. It's a stone panel. It's not truly that they've laid stone.
But it looks
Oh, yeah,
really
it
like
looks
brick.
like
I mean, you know, it's just
I-
a cheaper way to do it.
I can tell you that, I've traveled this state over the last couple of years, and especially since this issue has come up, I've looked at every dollar store in every county that I've been in. And if we get what they're even saying, that's an upgrade to 99% of them out there, except for the two that Jerry mentioned, because every one of them have the yellow brownish looking block on the front of it, and they're all down the side as metal. If we can get them to do that, great. If not, I think what we're getting is an upgrade to anything that anybody else has.
Well, I want the county to go forward. Always, you can go to other counties, you can go to Bullitt County, and they look down on Spencer County. Go to Jefferson County and look down on it. Go to Shelby County and look down on it. Go to Simpsonville and look at their store. Go to Nelson County and look at it. We are no longer gonna be a third world country here. We're gonna progress, and we want businesses here. We beg them to come here, but we don't want them downgrading our neighborhoods. Paragraph.
All right. Julie, let me ask, is that something that's handled in our regulations for commercial zoning or anything?
It is not. And
Is there
see, and
anything
that's the thing is, you know, when somebody comes in with, but we don't have a design committee. You know, we don't have a set of rules as to, here's how your buildings have to look. You know,
Hang on
they
just a
could,
second.
they could say they wanted to put it in as hot pink, and I can't tell them no. You know, that's the thing is we don't have that. Nelson County does. You know, they've got a design board and they've got stuff set up for each district of what's allowed, what's not allowed. Very
we don't.
specific stuff. Where
Okay,
we don't, yeah, we don't have that.
So, there's no doubt Jerry would be willing to work with whoever and try to develop something to address that and address those concerns.
That's it. QK4,
That's on
probably
subdivision.
3 times, and that's just on subdivision.
Right.
And we've got that, that's about wrapped up. And Julie said something to me 2 or 3 weeks ago, I can't remember that time. And I talked with QK4, and they got a division that is set up just for commercial buildings, for planning and zoning to go by. And they pick up rules from, like on the subdivision, we're getting from Oldham County, we're getting from Shelbyville. Oldham County is much farther advanced on building roads, better roads for the subdivision than what Shelby County is. And as soon as I get through with that, then I'll start with QK4 on the commercial buildings, so y'all will have something to go by. I know you're just shooting from the hip, and everybody's trying to do the best job that they can, and I respect them very much for it. And I don't mean to disagree with them, but I think it's time that we changed. And for the betterment of the county. You know, I want it to grow. Everybody wants it to grow, but we gotta grow in the right direction.
Any other comments?
Julie, is that the right message to send back to planning and zoning from the court? Or is there another way?
Well, I mean, I guess that would be the only way that, you would refer it back to them. But again, we don't have any grounds to hold them to
Gary's
that.
saying
That's the only thing. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about on this application here though, I thought you were asking to send this by.
No, the current motion is to go ahead and approve based on the planning and zoning recommendation.
Right, we would have to open up another public hearing.
Well, can fiscal court legally send that back to you guys with that stipulation that we were?
You could send it back. I just don't know that we would have any grounds to make them do more.
I think as soon as Jerry finishes,
Is what I'm
whoever
saying.
you're working with on developing regulations to address the concerns that you've got on that, and obviously others have these concerns, but we don't have a means of being able to address it, or planning and zoning doesn't. But as soon as you work with QK4 and whoever else you're gonna work with, does anybody want to serve and work with Jerry on that, feel free.
Should we hold on this then?
No, I don't think, I mean, we can't hold it until we just develop, regulations,
Do you have a legal stance
I
to
don't
hold?
think we have a legal basis to it.
I think Ken, I understand evidently that there's some problems there, but Ken has been in touch with their attorney.
Yeah, I think everybody,
And I think we need to turn it down.
well,
Because we got people out here that's concerned about this. I
Yeah.
get telephone calls, and I'm gonna vote no on it.
okay.
Y'all do what y'all wanna do.
Well, let's,
But it's
we've
not
got a
right.
motion,
We need to take care of our residents and do what they want a little bit. And they're not asking for much. They
Yeah.
just want that. And as far as the
Well-
traffic count, which I don't have that much respect, but I live on Grays Run Road, it's probably one of the worst roads in the county. And it's controlled, and it's a state highway, and the speed limit is 50 miles an hour. It is totally ridiculous. So as far as the traffic count, I don't have that much respect.
I know nobody likes change. Nobody, but if any one of us wanted to buy a piece of property and build a house, and your neighbors come over and said, you couldn't build this house, only build it the way that I want you to build it, what would you tell them? I know what Jerry told them.
Usually when you buy something, you buy a subdivision, it's got restrictions on it.
well, I think planning and zoning has considered all of their regulations and so forth. They've even gone beyond that
Right.
to agree to do same things as far as binding elements in
And you
order to address some of the concerns, so.
You all should have received both meetings worth of minutes to see how extensive, that's what this whole set is. And it took to page 9 to get to a motion. And that's after there were lengthy hearings before that. the only thing I can say on it is, like you commented about the store in front of the high school. That was put on a piece of property that was already commercial, and because we don't have those design standards, there was nothing we could do with it at all. So at least on this, we did have a little bit of grip on it because they were asking for the zoning. And so, we asked them to not do the metal, to not do the stone front like they've been doing. We asked for the brick. And that's where neighbors were on there commenting that that's what they wanted, so I think,
Did you ask for brick for the entire structure?
They do about
I can't guarantee that. I'll have to look through. I don't recall that completely.
Can planning and zoning, get with them and say, okay, fiscal court is not okay with this, they want brick all around the whole building? Would you do that?
Yeah, if you send it back, that's the only thing we can do.
I
It's asked,
don't know
but
that we
they
have
may
to
not
do that.
agree, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's nothing
We
illegal.
don't have
in it.
anything to
Well-
say that they had to, is all I was saying.
We can just, planning and zoning, fiscal, just ask them and say, this is a concern, would you do this? And they may say, okay, fine, no problem.
And that's all you can try.
Right, it's essentially what
That's
they've
you
done
wanna
on
try.
some of these kind of homes.
And we want them in the county, we want business in the county, but we don't want them building a building that pulls people's property value down. And I'm gonna fight it and fight it and fight it. Because these are the people I'm representing.
Well, the thing to do would be to get regulations in place.
We're working on
and
that.
wonder why we
I'm
haven't
I'm
done
working
that.
on that, John, but we're talking about this meeting, right, we're talking about this
Right.
right now. And I'm saying no. But we want you brick down the side, we want you to just start building it tomorrow.
All right, we've got a motion on the floor. Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Squire Jerry Moody,
No.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody,
No?
Squire Beaverson,
No.
Judge Riley,
Yes?
Squire Travis.
No.
Okay, so we're gonna start the process over
So we're
again.
kicking it back to planning and zoning.
Kicking it back to
Ask if
planning and
they
zoning.
would consider doing brick.
So when it comes back to us, when we started a first reading, okay,
Okay.
all righty.
All right, that's all I have. Do I do my personnel, or do you want me
Let's
to
go
come back?
ahead and do that. It's under another item under new business, but let's go ahead while you're here to just go ahead and dispose of that. She's talking about under personnel appointments, planning and zoning, occupational enforcement recommendation. Julie does have a recommendation for us.
Stephanie and I have received applications, we've gone through those, we've held interviews and interviewed a few people, and we would like to recommend Ashley Ingram at $15.25 an hour.
Is that
The
code
full-time,
enforcement?
for code enforcement and
Officer.
the tax license office as well.
Spell her last name.
INGRAM, and her Ashley is ASHLEE.
L-E-E, I had a Y.
That was 15.
$15.25.
1525, if anybody's gonna go ahead and make a motion on that, make sure it includes the subject to, background check and the drug screen.
So moved.
We've got a motion, and this would be effective, so she has to put a 2-week notice, I believe.
I'm sure that's.
Okay. We've got a motion
Second.
and a second. Hang on just a second. All right, any discussion? Call the roll.
Squire Brewer,
Yes.
Squire Mike Moody,
No.
Squire Beaverson,
Yes.
Judge Riley.
Yes.
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Squire Jerry Moody.
No.
Okay, motion passes, so, anything else, Julie?
That's all I have.
New carpet,
New carpet, yes.
I want you to put in a purchase order for batteries for the clock.
Oh, nobody's paid much attention to that clock lately.
And,
I may accidentally have some up front.
okay,
Call Randy.
we're gonna take just let's make it a 3-minute break if we can.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
job.
Yep.
It's good, sir. It is empty.
Judge, I think one thing, is after that meeting, my personal thought.
Yeah,
I appreciate all the prayers and requests I had, but while I've been down for since September
Good to
22nd,
see you back up and about. My
I'm
God.
finally doing, my wife, she's pushing me with all my therapists and all that.
Good job, good job.
Since January the 4th.
Keep doing it.
December 4th.
So, December, yeah,
Came home December 4th.
I told December the 4th, so.
Like a bad penny, I just
All the
keep coming
time I was in the
right back.
hospital, I didn't
You
work.
took- you had a rough going.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Moving this, everybody's back, let's go ahead and resume then. Next up is Chris Ham, EMS.
Morning.
I don't think that microphone's working, just speak up.
Just more COVID update really. We've got the data back from the state, the CDC, and Spencer County is 120 out of 120 counties. The number of citizens we have vaccinated.
I don't believe
I
that.
don't believe that number either. We did all those large clinics in Shelbyville, and I know a lot of people from Louisville and got vaccinated, so I'm not 100% buying those numbers. The health department tells us that's the numbers. So we're going to move some vaccine clinics back here. The first one we're going to do as a large clinic is May 20th from 3 to 6 at the EMS building. It's going to be a drive-up clinic. So the EMS and the health department are partnering together to do that. They're all working on. Then the health department is receiving 10 primary doses and 10 secondary doses each week. I believe they're giving those out on Thursday. I would call it a check. I think it's Thursday, so we can first. So the primary is the first shot, and the secondary is the second shot, so we like Moderna. We're working on getting some Pfizer vaccine to the school district, because Pfizer's the only one that's approved for ages 16. But Moderna and Johnson & Johnson is 18 and older. Johnson & Johnson has been taken off hold, so they're going to start using that again. I'm not sure for upcoming which dose they're going to use. Once we know that, we'll put it out. Again, it's going to be from 3 to 6. I believe Thursday. I think it's Thursday, May 20th today. Also, our two pharmacies are receiving a lot more doses. They're due this week with those. We can just call the schedule if they have. I'll just continue to encourage people to get their vaccine, and soon we do that, soon we can open things back up.
Is it safe to say that there's ample opportunity for people in Spencer County to receive the vaccine?
We're starting to get more opportunity for people to get a vaccine in our county.
Well, you had the last clinic you had, we had a grand total of 20.
Got 24, and I think
That was
part
way
of
too
that,
apart.
I think part of that is just the hours we use. We're a veteran community, so if we're doing our vaccine clinics from 10 in the morning to noon, we don't have a whole lot of people around that's either they not at work here in the county or not at work in Louisville, Shelbyville, or wherever we go. I think we just chose the wrong hours for that. I would like to see more there. But that day we did that clinic at Rachel Park, and we went from door to door at Hallmark Lake Apartments, Friendship House, Chapel House, to try to get more people to participate. But everybody that we spoke to had the vaccine, or just didn't want to, about 6 didn't want. But the people in those areas are the same as the target populations we started with in January. So I think it was just probably not the best location and off the times. So after we did that, I spoke to the health department, and that's when we pushed this one back. From 3 to 6, we believe we can get people work second shift leaving town, and we can get the first shifters as they come back to town. So
If somebody has a question about how, where they can get the vaccine, what's the best phone call they can make? Is that to the health department?
I would call one of the local pharmacies first. If they do business with the pharmacy country mart or Romans, they're getting doses. I don't know how many they're getting, but they're getting doses each week. Or they can follow the health department, or Spencer County EMS, or Spencer County Emergency Management on social media, Facebook, and we can keep that information pushed out. So if the May 20th one goes good, I feel like they'll let us keep doing these clinics. And if you want us to move them out to different areas in the county, just let me know, we can try to work that out. I'd be happy to take them wherever, it's just so people get the vaccine. I've spoke with the health department about if they would just issue the vaccine and let us take appointments, so we can try to get the homebound people. But still trying to work on that with them. The director there's not really big on it. Because our paramedics have been given the vaccine since the first ones we gave here. So if we can get them to work with us on that, we can schedule a day where send a paramedic and the health department work it out and route around 20 or 30 people and give them the vaccine. We can work through that.
Maybe now that baseball season is maybe kicked off, maybe think about setting up on, contact Raina Allen to find out when her biggest crowd is going to be there, maybe set up over Rayville Park.
The problem, we thought about that. The problem is like the block gets so full just with baseball. And once you have your vaccine, you've got to sit in your car for 15 minutes. I have talked to the pastor at Grace Chapel, and he's told us we can use his parking lot anytime, as long as they don't have truck service going on. So that does give us an option there. But definitely just encourage people to
All get exposed.
Yeah.
Exposure.
And part of it was the last clinic, it was supposed to be Johnson & Johnson. The news came out that the drug administration put a hold on that. So that's kind of, a lot of people were looking forward to Johnson & Johnson because it's a single shot. And it's been reopened now. So we had to change the date, change the time. So I think last time was a timing issue. We didn't have enough time to advertise it. So if y'all could just encourage people to keep an eye out for our clinics and we'll get there.
All right, well, obviously, Chris and I and Rwanda Rice, the Health District Director, and I have talked about this. And, I'm not sure those numbers are accurate, but we have Trumbull County's in the same boat. What are they, 119?
No, they were 90-something or real low 100s. We didn't read it. I just can't believe it.
We have so many people commute, and, supposedly your county of residence is noted, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. My wife, for example, was vaccinated down at University Hospital, so I don't know that was all that
And the-
information is being funneled back to the district, so.
And the health department told me that the local pharmacies don't follow the same reporting guidelines that they have to follow. So I just don't know.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing we're 120, because I know we vaccinated a lot of people at the firehouses.
Our cases are not
And we
reflecting.
vaccinated, we did 2 or 3 drive-through clinics at the EMS, and then what the pharmacies are handing out. We vaccinated, I mean, a lot of people. I don't know.
Well, and as you all know, I do send out the press releases from the district, so you'll kind of keep up with that. Anything else? Anybody have any questions or EMS or emergency management? I'm sure you will definitely be involved in the training the sheriff will be approved to sheriff. So, next up is safety committee reports. Squire Brewer.
Nothing to report.
All right. Solid waste committee, Jim Travis.
Nothing.
All right. Veterans committee report, Squire Brewer.
We'll just be doing the renaming of the AMVETS on the Memorial Weekend next Saturday. I will remind everybody at our next meeting, give them an updated time and stuff.
That's next Saturday?
No.
Oh.
The Saturday of Memorial Weekend.
Okay, all right. And let's see, equipment committee report, Jerry.
Got the animal shelter truck that was $600 and some odd dollars.
With tires and
Tires and checking it out, frozen it, and getting it ready to go.
change the oil.
I was well pleased with that.
Yeah.
We're coming in way under our budget. We had set aside 5,000.
Okay.
And so far we used 606 and they're using it. And I've got to get with them on what we're going to do on strike.
Yeah, he'd gotten a quote on that. I don't know if you've seen that yet. It's,
I
it was
think
low.
the quote was $1,300.
No, that was just an estimate. I think it came in around $1,200 something dollars. And they're actually doing a little more than what we initially anticipated to cover up some old lettering and so forth. So we've gotten approval to go ahead and move forward with that. So also want to look at, as you know, the sheriff is going to keep the one pickup that initially we were going to transfer. So we need to look at replacing that Tahoe if you run across a Tahoe or a Suburban or, something maybe a little smaller than the F-350 that they can make a quick run in.
Only vehicle I got right now, I think, is the Dodge truck from the church. We ended up with one extra truck out of that too.
Oh, okay. Get with Nick and see if that'll work for him.
If we go that, do we need 2 vehicles in
Yeah.
animal control? What do we
Yeah.
need 2 vehicles for?
Well, as you know, the one we got from Metro Louisville, it's big. It's an F-350 with the box on it and so forth. But a lot of times they just have a run for, an investigation or just to check something out. So they don't want to take that big F-350 out every time they got, call out or something. So they do need something a little smaller.
Are we running into any overtime?
Brittany, do you recall overtime? I'm not.
They get a little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
We got 2 full-time employees down there,
Mhm.
and sometimes we don't have any dollars,
Well,
and sometimes we'll have 2, but I mean, every once in a while it would jump up.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think there should be any overtime time, period, paragraph.
Well, a lot of times what happens is a call out on a weekend, when they're called out by dispatch, they minimize that anytime they can. They don't go out, just because a dog's barking on a weekend, that's not an emergency. But from time to time, they do get called out. Actually, they didn't get called out on this one, but I heard the dispatch transmissions on it. It was dog broke its chain, got over and was about ready to attack a neighbor. The neighbor shot the dog. And, it's so there's constantly stuff going on. But Nick is doing an excellent job of weeding through that and not running out there on every nitpicking call. We had a previous director over there that was, out on every if they can call there was a squirrel on the road, I think it was going out. And we were picking up dogs from other counties from what I understand. So it is under much better care.
Yes,
So,
I agree with you 100%.
They're on call on the weekend, they're not at the office.
no.
They're just on call.
Well, they got to tend to the dogs and so forth, if there's some over there. We had a recent issue with what they suspect was a brown recluse spider. So they ended up having to,
Did they rescue it?
yeah. So we vacated the shelter for several days, and I think we had one or two dogs. I told them to put them over to Cindy's or do something, get them out of there. So, but anyway. Okay, anything else with the equipment committee report? All right, move on to telecommunications. Been awful busy. I know Brett and Brittany and who else have been working on that?
Brett with the PDA.
Technology in this room.
Yeah,
your
Brittany's
live
been
stream.
doing the lion's share of a lot of this, and I thank her very much for all of her assistance and work. Phone systems still rolling out, and of course the web mail conversion. I don't know of any problems now with that. Everything's moving right along there.
That transition.
We are live streaming now on Facebook Live, and that will continue even as the meetings go back to completely normal. And then those archives are being kept for later view by Lynn and anybody else who wants to take a look at those.
We have a YouTube channel.
Audio seems to be pretty good. I do ask folks to speak up a little bit more because we are relying on a microphone that's in the back of the room, but it does seem to work.
Actually,
Well, that's
what
it
used to
should
be
be.
the main.
Coming through those speakers, but the main microphone is on that camera.
Okay.
Okay? So that's helpful if folks can speak up a bit.
Do you think we should address maybe a new microphone system or something where everybody's
That's
got a
spending
microphone instead of, sometimes these work, sometimes they don't?
Let's see.
I think there's a grant that you can get on microphones on courtrooms from the state. They'll give you a grant for the hearing impaired that'll have a better system.
I'd qualify for that one.
Oh, what's that?
Now, I will say in relation to the Oldham counties who have some kind of premium set up and all that, that system that they have up there is like television production. You can title and do all this other kind of stuff. You know, this is a system that needs to be able to be handed down, not have one person who's the knowledgeable one to do the meetings. It's so easy, one camera, and we're talking about $30,000 less than what the Oldham County system would be, and that was after a quote was dropped. So I think we're in much better shape and not looking to just spend money for the purposes of having the best. We're not there. We don't need it. We don't need that. At this point, Facebook Live is also no cost. And I don't know if somewhere down the road, if they start allowing you to archive. But for right now, we can archive every meeting, which is really nice. Let's see. That was all of that. I don't believe we have anything else on telecom coming up.
Okay, and I noticed, well, obviously Brittany's here this morning. She's not going to be able to be here at every meeting, so
Right.
but is there, we'll
As long as things don't get messed up on that computer back there and the icons are where they need to be, we can click it, run it, go live.
So I'm
Now-
here because Jim wanted to do a presentation, so I'm operating the two monitors. Now, in terms of commenting, there will be no moderator. So I check periodically to see if anybody comments on the video, but if things get out of hand, obviously you all will be up there and I will be there.
Is that something that we'll need to consider doing, is having somebody to respond to comments or?
There's no policy on it.
Hmm. Well, I'm concerned about that.
I would maybe
don't
get
want
with-
to silence people, but I don't want, something posted up that would be untoward. So,
Sounds like a county attorney office question.
yeah. Yeah, let's take a look at that, I guess.
Now, Brittany's not here, but we're using the computer to broadcast. I don't know what we'll do about that. I guess that's a conversation that I'll have.
We'll figure it out.
Or just use the computer that's back
The
there.
computer that's in there is doing fine.
Okay.
Well,
We're good.
Proof that you can't teach old dogs new tricks, because sitting there in my office trying to host a Zoom meeting and conduct a meeting and all that was a challenge. But when I'm sitting in here, I'd rather just be attending to the meeting itself, not trying to make sure our technology is
Right.
working or not working. And I know the clerk depends heavily on the recordings to be able to type her transcripts. But anyway, so.
At a bare minimum, I would say if that thing completely failed, I know that we could prop up a phone if we absolutely had to, and we could
How do we know?
do the very same thing. I'm sorry.
How would we know that? Is it?
I would tell you, it's not working, we're going to, I would set up,
How would you know sitting here that that's not working?
if we know that it's not working before the meeting starts.
Oh,
If
before-
it fails in the middle of the meeting, who knows?
Yeah.
That's why.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Maybe we just spent $40,000.
Yeah, no, Owen County uses
And a
Jefferson.
person doesn't know.
Jefferson Audio Video is the premier video systems. Very, very expensive.
Just want to make under comments from other offices.
Yes,
Real
go ahead,
quick.
sure.
It's not necessarily to do with my office, but in conjunction with the Chamber, Spencer County Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is going to partner with the Department of Homeland Security to provide active shooter training at the high school, June 17th. Bullitt County has been invited to attend. It's going to be free and open to the public. An agent with the Department of Homeland Security has agreed to do the training, and it should be very important.
Okay, and that's separate part from what the sheriff is talking about.
Yes, yeah, this was planned, this was in the works.
Okay,
So,
June 17th.
6 o'clock at the high school gymnasium.
All right. Anything else? We'll move on. Old business, John Henry Road closing. Square Beaverson and Square Travis. Square Beaverson.
Let's see, the latest update, I did post it on the District 5 Facebook page. I don't know if you read it, tag you on it. But basically what it comes down to, number one, that section of road is not John Henry Road. It's called Rob Rogers Road, going back into the deed. So that was one piece of what we approved that that was not correct. The road also actually goes across Brashears Creek and intersects with Brashears Creek Road. That introduces a third property owner. Now, in talking with the property owner and also Ken, and with Derby last week, they couldn't meet, but we're going to have an on-the-ground meeting. When that date and time or choices of times are set up, I'm going to let the judge, and you're welcome to attend also, but an on-the-ground meeting with the road foreman and the judge, and Ken wanted to be there too, so that everybody's on the same page, because not pointing any fingers, but there has been things told to some people that weren't told to others, and if everybody's there at the same spot, we can come to an agreement to leave it with the county. The property owner said, if it's going to be county, needs to be maintained. Well, that doesn't mean it's high on the priority of maintaining, but let's run some gravel down through there. And the deed does allow for a gate. That's specifically a gate, but it says access. And there's ways to interlock padlocks to provide access for the water department, fire department, road department, so they can get back there. And as far as being able to ford the creek, there's so much growth on the other side now with trees, it's really, you'd have to be in a UTV or something, but something small, really, to do that now. Plus, I understand there's a lot of debris and it's been dug out and everything. It's really deterred the fording. That part of it isn't really a big concern as far as I'm concerned. But it does make it so that as this county grows, maybe 50 years, and that whole place could be full of houses and everything, and they need to have access over to Shears Creek. Well, the county owns that. They'd come in and put a bridge long after we're gone. So I'm kind of going back now that I've learned more about the situation, talking to the property owner. The county does have an obligation to have once every 5 or 10 years throw some gravel down, and but not necessarily put it high on the priority list of things to take care of.
So,
Yeah, well, I know that's not my district, it used to be, but for years, I used that road myself personally, as a teenager, access to Shears Creek. It seems to me like this landowner here next to it that made that request to you threw us a lemon. And I think we can take that lemon and make lemonade out of it. And what I mean by that is there's the picture of the John Henry Road. It's on the screen up there, if you can see it, where it comes to an end down there. I rode down there, filmed that. I did cross the creek with my pickup truck. Anyway, my wife was with me, and we noticed that there was not one beer can, candy wrapper, or anything that was to be seen.
not like the rest of them.
And I think he had mentioned litter was a problem. The road itself it's as far as long as from here over to the annex, maybe a little longer. It's got one chug hole in the middle of it. It's just a water hole, kind of like.
They'll fill in as water goes.
But anyway, the road bed is solid. It's just growing up in grass. A couple of loads of 57 gravel will take care of that all the way to the creek. My suggestion would be that we take this opportunity to leave it like it is and even expand it more and have the county road department to actually take it over and maintain it somewhat better. And use that as an access point for the public to be able to go to the creek to put kayaks, canoes in. And there are a lot of people that kayak on the Shears Creek. Every weekend there's people there. And if we close off that public access, then there's only 2 left. One is at Pickett's Down in Shelbyville, Shelby County, and then the other one is in Rivals. And then there's nothing between there and Taylorsville, except on private land. So if we eliminate this public access, then we're eliminating an opportunity for tourism, if you want. You never know, down the road. But and there's plenty of room down there for a parking lot. So one load of gravel at the end, spread out, could park 5 or 6 vehicles in there, and like I say, it gives an opportunity for the citizens of the county to be able to go down there, if not just to go down and take the kids down into the creek and let them, swim around and catch crawfish and whatever. And, because, it's county owned and, and I don't think the county should be giving up, something that we own just to satisfy, one landowner, which we don't know who the name was. We don't know who the
Robert
second,
Hancock.
we don't know who the second person was. We don't know if the second landowner agreed or not, because it was just said that the second landowner agreed. I think we already have proof of that before we, try to discontinue a road. But I think it's something that we just need to just leave it alone and let the county road department maintain it a little bit better.
Why don't you show up at that meeting, and you can say everything at that meeting. And, there's nothing keeping anybody from knocking on a door and saying, hey, we'd like to come on back down here. And the guy, is obligated to have access to open up that gate. Basically what you've done, though, you sat there and called me a liar about the litter, about fording.
No,
I mean, I'm going by what I said. No, I didn't take my vehicle across. I wasn't going to do that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
Okay, well then, that's the way I took it. I apologize.
Well, let me just say this. There was something that we don't have the first reading that we had last meeting.
So when the first reading was just
whatever it was,
We just opted to explore the possibility.
Yeah.
of the road.
There was something in there.
We're going to reverse course on that at this point, or what do you?
Well, the approval to move forward still sits there. We
Oh.
don't have to reverse it or anything.
Okay.
We don't have to act on it.
Yeah.
But in that initial report, it said that the landowner said that there was litter. That's what I was,
Yeah.
he said that, not you, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm taking care of his place, I guess.
Yeah. But he's taking care of it, because it's clean.
And when I was down there, I didn't see a whole lot of anything when I was down there. There was evidence that people had been there, whether it's him or not, I don't know. The first time I went there, it was pretty swift when I went through there, but it's gone down quite a bit. I saw it on the Brashears Creek side. And so I think we've got some agreement in this too, though. And it's just a matter of the details and the gate. I can understand the property owner on the gate part of it. I also see what you're saying. And, that's where we need to have this on-the-ground meeting and come to a consensus right there on the ground, and where everybody is talking on the same page. And I'm not caught in the middle of what's being told to the property owner and what's being told to me, and it's not jiving. So that's what I'm proposing this meeting on site.
Okay.
And I apologize if I got my bander up a moment.
I didn't mean anything
Okay.
about,
I know you don't.
But anyway, Jeff, the information there that I passed out, you'll see, what it takes to discontinue a county road. When it comes right down to it, I'd like just to make a motion that we just not go any further on this issue and just let it be.
We've got a motion, I'm not sure that kind of negates what you're trying to do, just explore.
Right. I'm just trying to,
I don't know if
but
it's
stop this in the water. Right now, we've got one landowner that came forward and asked you, as your magistrate to do that. So do we take this one landowner and give him?
That's kind of how magistrates work.
Give him.
We get
give
one
him-
citizen that comes and talks to us,
Right.
and then we work with that citizen. That's how.
And that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And, but we've got one citizen that's come up and maybe not complain or whatever, but, so do we take him and give the county road property back to him and deny access for all the people? Spencer County. You know, it's just,
If he's the only property owner, then why hasn't anybody got any business on the road back there? If he's, you know, I mean, well, I don't.
County road.
County road goes through his property, right in between his and his neighbor.
Okay.
Here's the problem. I'd just like to see it move forward simply because of this. If you go down that county road and you go into that creek and you put a canoe on there, as long as you stay in your canoe, you're fine. Once you step out of that canoe, you're trespassing.
no.
Yes, sir, because you don't own the water, but you own the land under the water.
Right.
Bashir's Creek is a blue line stream, okay, about the state of Kentucky definition. And it says, and I looked it up, it says, it's got public access to any blue line stream as long as you do not go up onto private property. Anybody can use the creek stream.
Yeah, the road is on both sides of the creek, so it's not private property.
I understand, but once you get off that road, you're gonna be on private property.
That part is true, but that's anywhere, on any county road.
Well, I know that was in my district when I was Elk Creek magistrate, and the issue came up about closing it, and it's been, bounced back and forth several times, but I've always opposed it because when you look at Indian Ridge and the tail end of John Henry, there's no access. I mean, if Brashears Creek is up and covering John Henry Road, there's no access to that area. So it might be 50 years. I don't know, but I was reluctant to give up county right away because at some point in time, fiscal court may want to put, I mean, it'd be a big bridge to span that, but, instead of going all the way around and maybe not even being able to get into Indian Ridge because of high water, you might, at some point, the county may want to do something to address that for emergency vehicles, EMS, fire, all that. But the likelihood of that happening anytime in the near future is zip. But at some point in the future it may. So I always oppose closing that highway. But
Well, I think the closing of it is off the,
yeah,
it is not being pursued,
okay.
but the gate is the issue at this point.
Can you put a gate across the county road? Well, I think it's important.
And talking with Ken, he had a case, and it can be possible to do. Ken, he liked what we were talking about, but there again, having everybody on the ground, reaching the conclusion that, this guy, if everybody's saying, yeah, everything's good, we can maintain it, we can't put the gate up, okay, then that's what he lives with, because it's not his road.
Okay.
And
let me make sure I understand, because initially, we started, in our last meeting, it was decided to move forward and look into closing it. But that's not an issue at this point. You're not asking to close it. He's not asking to close the road. So I think you all are in agreement there. You don't want the road closed.
And I'm finding out more.
Yeah, finding out more. So
because every property owner has to be on board with this.
Let us know when
third property owner now, and I'll let you know when the meeting gets.
Okay. All right. So we're going to move on.
Motion on the floor.
I already said my motion.
Okay. It was never seconded. Okay, we've already dealt with the planning and zoning enforcement position, school emergency plan we've dealt with. We're to window and door repair, Squire Brewer. This is over at the recycle center and maintenance shop area. Have we got one quote or two quotes in here?
Well, you have an old quote for 5 windows, way back when we first started talking about this. And then you asked me to give a quote for the door and the windows. So now there's a quote for the doors and windows. At that point in time, you said you only wanted 3 windows and 1 door. So it's sort of like comparing apples to oranges, but
well, I see now September 25th of 2020.
Yeah.
What's your recommendation on that?
I have no recommendation, I just brought the paperwork to the court.
Well, we need to replace some windows, we need to replace a door.
This is recycling, correct?
The recycling office
It's
is.
slash maintenance building, a Gary Day's old building.
So there's one window in that building.
2 windows in that building and 1 window in Karen's office.
And one door.
Okay,
And 1 door in the maintenance building, yeah.
that's on the Spears Drive
That is
side.
correct, yes. It is in bad shape.
So
And
we've
it
got a
is a
quote here
special,
of $3,700, or $3,680 to put, is that 3 windows? Yeah, 3 vinyl replacement windows and a door.
and the door is a special size door. It's a 40-inch door as opposed to a standard 36-inch. I had Randy, he wanted to keep it at 40 inches because they bring equipment in and out of there. But whatever.
Well, it's a question of what the court wants to do. I think, we need to move forward and go on and get that work done. But that doesn't mean we can't hold off and do another quote or not do it at all, or whatever the court wishes to do on that. Do you know this Bill Lane?
I do, and I will not be voting on this issue.
Okay.
What happened to the other 2 windows that need to be replaced?
I don't know.
They still need to be replaced?
Evidently not.
I would say every window in that entire 2-building facility there.
Well, that pretty much covers it. You got, 1 window in the office area in the maintenance shop. You've got a window over on the Spears Drive side, and the window in the recycling is 3 is all I can think of.
No, there's 3 more in the animal shelter.
Animal shelter. I hadn't heard that either.
Well,
And they're the same age as the ones that are in the other building.
in the recycling center, there's also a couple more between the 2 buildings, or did Randy put metal?
They're just covered.
They're just covered to.
There's only one window that anybody ever told me about that they want to replace in the recycling building.
Okay.
But there's other windows in the recycling center.
But they're covered over.
So last time I was over, they had just maybe cardboard or paper or duct tape over them or whatever.
Randy said that he was told to put aluminum over top.
Okay, because Randy and I went over and looked at it and measured it, and 1 sheet of metal would, take the window out, and 1 sheet of metal would cover from top to bottom. I didn't know if metal down. I don't know if it was
Bloomfield or
Chapman,
yeah.
and Randy said he would take care of it, so I don't know if he did or not, but anyway.
Okay, well,
I'll make a motion that we take the quote from Bill Lang to replace the 3 windows in the door.
we've got a motion,
Second.
and we've got a second.
Is that a reasonable price to do that work?
The cost of the equipment, the cost of the materials is what's really high, especially on the special order door.
Okay. For the motion, second, any other discussion?
What quote are we using?
I'm sorry?
What price are we using?
The 3,680 Bill Lang construction. The most recent one.
Yeah, I'm sure that probably Enterprise would stay with the quote they had set.
Oh, no, that's 5 windows and no door.
30 days anyway.
Yeah. It's just a question.
What page is that for?
46.
At the bottom page. See it?
The motion is to move forward with the quote from Bill Lang Construction to replace 3 windows and 1 door, $3,680. Any other discussion, questions, comments? Okay, call the roll, please.
Square Peterson,
Yes.
Jim Farley,
Yes.
Square Travis.
Yes.
Square Jerry Lee,
Yes.
Sir Brewer, Sir Mike Lee.
Yes.
All right, we'll go ahead and get that to you. The next item is going to be striping. Parking lot striping. Thank you. Passed out a couple of quotes. I hate to do this, but it happens from time to time, and we do need to move forward to get those, that parking lot is large for parking. Stripes, we've got 2 quotes. We just came in this morning. Looked at quote from the Reynolds.
Have we ever used either one of these companies
I
before?
could not tell you, I know, Todd had some contacts, so I know he was able to get that stripe on that Happy Road. Done pretty quickly a couple of years ago when they opened the elementary school.
You know, on that one for
We're pretty darn close. 2,983.20 versus 24.15. That was about $500 difference. It's up to the court. Scarborough, that's in your district.
It is. Only because the Reynolds is saying that they're gonna do the handicap and all that stuff. They don't, nothing stated on that from Atlantic. I will make a motion that we accept the quote from Reynolds Sealing and Stripe Incorporated for $2,415.68.
All right, we've got a motion.
Second.
30 seconds.
No,
Discussion.
Evan Brewer is not related.
Call the roll, please.
Sir Charlie,
Yes.
Sir Travis.
Yes.
Sir Jerry Lee,
Yes.
Sir Brewer,
Yes.
Sir Mike Lee,
Yes.
Sir Peterson.
Yes.
Motion passes. We'll go ahead and get that done. And next up is our KSP dispatch contract. Motion to go ahead and authorize to it. So we got a motion,
Second.
and we got a second. Questions, comments, or concerns? If not, call the roll.
Sir Travis.
Oh, I'm sorry, hang on.
Just the same rate.
I believe it is.
I think there's, what, $1,000 difference in the budget that you presented to us last year or so.
Do you recall the,
98,450.
is this the same rate that we've been paying with KSP?
If it's not, it's very close.
Yeah,
I know when we looked at it years ago, it was 90,000, so. Yeah. All right. Who made that motion? Who seconded? Second. The motion, we're gonna say. Motion and second. Any more discussion? Not call roll.
Sir Travis.
Yes.
Sir Jerry Lee,
Yes.
Sir Brewer,
Yes.
Sir Mike Lee,
Yes.
Sir Peterson.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. I will sign that and go back to KSP. Next up is budget. As you all know, in my cover letter to you last week, I always try to get that to you 30 days in advance of what the statute requires me to. And unfortunately, that didn't happen this year. There's all kind of things I guess I could point to, the COVID situation, we had some issues. I know Brittany took some time off, well-deserved, and had distractions. I mean, these were good distractions, but the telephone system, as we know, Brittany put a lot of time into, and what else? changing the web hosting and all that. So there's been a few distractions, but nonetheless, I was able to get it to you well within the statutory requirement when I presented it to you last week. It's in there. I don't know if you all had a chance to look it over. As I said in my cover letter, there is no perfect budget. We can make adjustments as we go through the fiscal year with transfers or with budget amendments. That's inevitable. So if you, we're welcome to do several things this morning. We can go ahead and approve a first reading. You can say, let's chew on it a while and potentially change it and so forth before we have a first reading, or whatever. I mean, I'm open to whatever the court wants to do. I just want you to keep in mind that everybody is, I say everybody, all the counties and various entities are sending their budgets to DLG to be approved, and it takes a little while. We have to have once we approve our first reading, we send it to Frankfurt, they go over it, they approve it or disapprove it. If they approve it, it comes back to us for a second reading, and that has to be completed no later than midnight on June the 3rd. So the sooner we can get it up to DLG, the better. And as I said, if there, I wouldn't necessarily want to, not that we can't change it over a little tweak here or there, because those, again, can be done with budget transfers or with, and I have no doubt, I mean, with as much as going to be up in the air on the ARPA funds, and we've got.
Motion to approve first reading.
We've got a motion to approve the first reading.
Second.
And we've got a second. Is there any discussion?
Is there any way we can have a meeting between us and here between now and voting on the first reading, just where we can all sit down here and go through this thing and say, and change up what we want to change up, and then have our first reading?
Well, the motion is to go ahead and approve the first reading, so.
Right, but when the first reading comes along, you gotta send that to Frank.
As soon as we approve the first reading,
Then it would be good for us to have a second
well,
meeting.
when it comes back from Frankfurt, we could change it, but then we go right back to having another first reading.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Well, my question is, before we have the first reading or the vote on it, could we not have a meeting here one evening where all of us can sit here and go through this thing and say, well, why don't we add this to that? Not nitpick it, but just, and then have a first reading. I mean, I went through it, and there's some changes I'd like to see made, but if we get a first reading today and vote on it, then that's null and void what anybody wants to do after that point.
Have you talked to Doug or Brittany on the changes that you?
No, because I wanted to talk to the full court, and I want the full court to talk more with.
What are the changes?
Too many to mention in this, not too many, but.
Well, again, I mean,
Could we receive those by email and look at them individually and address them when we come back to the next meeting?
Yeah, but if we vote on the first reading, it was null and void in having any changes at that point.
I'll rescind my second.
okay, so what are we going to do? The motion has been rescinded.
Second.
Second is, I mean, who made the motion? Brett made the motion. Anybody wants to second the motion, or essentially what you're asking for is a special meeting?
Yeah, I would like to say a week from now, or sometime this.
Well, we don't want to wait too long, but
Tomorrow night, whatever. Have a meeting with all of us here and just kind of go through this and hash it for an hour or so, and then we could actually vote on it, a first reading, after that meeting.
Okay.
I would rather have the stuff ahead of time.
It would be helpful. because there's.
I can send my changes out that I'd like to see by email to everybody. If everybody else would do that, you know, to one another.
Do you have some that you can run through right now, just to give us an example of what you would like?
Okay, one of the biggest ones was animal shelter, capital projects. There's nothing in there budgeted towards that I can see.
Okay.
I'd like to see community action have more money, since we're getting this money from the rescue.
What did we budget for, I thought we.
40.
We doubled from 20 to 40.
Yeah, but we used to be 40, and so we cut it down. But I'd like to see, you know, at least 50,000 or not more go to community action.
Well, you know, we don't have the solid guidance on what that ARPA money can be used for.
Well,
so
if you got 40,000,
when you look at, for
you can
example,
put 50,000 in that line item just as well as you can put 40, whether we know what we're going to spend it for. Not if we can't spend it for it, then we go back.
okay, but it's not just a simple thing of changing one line. When you change one line, you've got to change another line. Okay, so you know we could get into
We're not budgeting this money we haven't got. Is that correct?
We're budgeting to receive it. We're not actually budgeting to spend it.
On the recovery act money, there's one receipt line, there's one appropriation line right now, and they're the same dollar amounts. So, I mean, we budgeted the $3 million that we're supposed to be getting, part of it here in the next week or two, the way they talk. We'll get the next of it a year from now. So we budgeted in the general fund, we put a line item for a receipt, a line item for an expense. But right now, we don't know, to break it down, we don't know what we can spend it on. They say infrastructure for one thing, but then like roads, not.
Don't use that with the infrastructure bill that they're debating.
That's on the Recovery Act that they talked about, I think, on that, but.
I think we need to forget about that until we get it.
Yeah,
And
well,
find
that's
out
pretty
what
much
we
what,
spend it on.
that's pretty much what our position was.
You budget what's in the budget.
So we can do it, if we budget it this way, you can do by transfer money from that and spend it in that same meeting if you decide, you know, if you bring up something and say we want to buy the building across the street or whatever, and if it fit under their guidelines, you can transfer that money from there and then do it at that meeting. If we don't budget it at all, you're gonna wait for at least probably a month or better time you do a budget amendment and so forth. So, I mean, that's the reason we wanted to go ahead and stick the way we put it here in the general fund. DOD may say we can't do it that way.
Let me take just the example you gave, like the senior center. Okay, we have been budgeting 20,000, and I know you're passionate about it. I am, and probably all of us on seniors issues, but we increased that from 20,000 to 40,000. Some of that is to help them handle the expected burden of dealing with the grant that, for utility assistance and so forth that they're going to be administering. But let's say that we approve the 40,000, and you know there's nothing to stop us from going, you know, once we get into the fiscal year, we've already budgeted to receive the money. Like Doug said, it's a simple transfer. You say, well, you know, hey, I moved that we increase that from 40,000 to 50,000. Just a matter of a transfer. That's why I say, you know, if there's little tweaks here and there, those can be handled with transfers, and we, you know, the budget amendments are a little more difficult. That's why we've gone on and budgeted to receive the $3,753,007 from Treasury, even though we're only going to get half of that probably very, very soon. The other half will come within this upcoming fiscal year. So, so little tweaks here and there we can handle through budget, either a budget amendment if necessary, or just a simple transfer. We're going to have, you know, we just don't know what this American Recovery Funds will be able to use that for. So it's hard to say, well, yeah, sure, we can use it for the senior center to increase our contribution to the senior center, but we don't know that right now. You know, can it be used to do land purchase or building purchase? You mentioned, I won't go into it here, but a situation that may be available. You know, my sense is that it's an opportunity right now. I think it's for recovery, for the community to help recover from this pandemic. And one thing that has really suffered is our tourism. You know, I don't know if this is an opportunity maybe that we can really take advantage of to enhance our tourism in a big way, or you know, I don't know. For example, they talked about a walk on the levee. That's I think $300,000 or $400,000. I don't know if that's something that will qualify.
Don't count on it.
Huh?
I mean, to just talk about it till we have more details.
We don't have the details, right? So you can't.
Talk about it.
No.
It's really a waste of time to talk about it until we know what we're
That's
doing.
right, exactly. Or to budget for it. I mean,
That's right.
you know,
You
Right
send
now,
out,
it's a pipe dream.
yeah, you send out a request, always send a list, you know, what we like to spend on. Well, how do you make a list?
Have you got any other examples of?
I'm fine with what you're saying, you know,
Okay.
the first motion, you know, after we discuss it, I go along with that, because as long as we've got that money in a bank, we could just pull out of it and vote on it at a meeting, say we want to, just say down the road, at a meeting, we want to allocate $500,000 for a new animal shelter. We can do that immediately and pull it out at funds, is that correct?
Yeah, we can spend out of that line item even as far as it goes,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
it fits under those guidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think, don't get me wrong, I didn't listen in on the conference call. I know Brittany, I think Tim did, and John, some of you, the other day with the auditor's office on this, and they made it sound like it was probably gonna be September before the auditor's office was gonna come out with guidelines, what this funds could really be spent on.
You know, it's interesting.
And that's after, long after the budget process.
And I know we got a motion on the floor to approve the first reading, okay, but it was interesting, the CARES money and the auditors. The auditors were like, well, who are we to second guess what you've done here? Because they haven't even set clear guidelines for auditors, you know. So anyway, there's a
Looks
lot
like a setup for the
a lot of
county.
questions.
Well, that's exactly right.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second to approve the second.
I'll second it again.
Oh, okay, you withdrew it, that's it.
Yeah, I put it-
Okay, so my understanding is Brett made the motion, Mike has seconded the motion to approve the first reading.
This, the rescue plan, it has to be spent, right? We can't put that back in.
You have to spend it.
No, you cannot.
If you don't spend it by 2024, it goes back to the federal government.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we have
likely,
to spend it.
likely it'll be the new administration that comes in 2023 that will be dealing with a lot of it.
The second half of it.
Well, yeah.
When we dispose of this, I've got a question.
Okay, so
I have
is
a
there?
quick question too, if it's okay. It's concerning
Yes,
the
go
office
ahead.
budget. Would I be able to add office upgrades? I need to have new flooring in my office painted. There's big parts of the wall that are 3 different colors. And also computer services, the people who are helping with the installation of the phones. Went back and looked, and I need some cabling done in my office, and I need some upgrades to computer services. So is there going to be an opportunity to add that to the budget?
We can always do transfers or amendments to it, like the transfers.
But it-
You know, it depends on what line item we're getting. You know, I've always said if we have, you know, just an unlimited supply of money, we can load each one of these line items up to where we would never have to do a transfer. But it's, you know, I could, on my personal budget to buy a new car this year and discover, oh my God, the roof is leaking, and opt to change that and put the new roof on and not buy the car. It's not, you're not locked into it. I know, we're just not locked into it. We can change.
But her question was, can we do that?
Sure. I mean, I don't know where we've got budgeted in those lines, depends on what line item you want to take it out of.
So I have to take it out of what already is budgeted for my office. will
Well-
not be an additional. That's my
Depends on what the
question.
court does. I mean, we can opt to transfer,
We can do it next week, or next meeting. We can transfer on this.
Yeah, if you come back with something.
Well, in our current budget,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I will come back.
You know, we got 8 police cars, I think, in their budget, so I think you could do the budget, what you around and buy one police car.
Well, we got money in, that we had to.
That's for his new vehicle.
Okay, any other
You can make
discussion?
changes after the first reading, it just has to be within the same area or whatever. Say if it's in the 9100s or whatever, it has to be in that range, or the 5000 series, you can make changes there once DLG signs off on it. But, once DLG signs off on it, the way I look at it, you probably want to go along with what they approved and then just approve the transfers along if we need to, probably. But you can make changes within the same line item.
Well, here it is, May 3rd, and if we approve this motion, we can get the budget up to DLG just within a day or so. And that puts us in really good shape. And the key to get approval and get it back for a second reading. So, anyway, any other discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Sort Jerry Moody,
Yes.
Sort Woodward,
Yes.
Sort Rexman,
Yes.
Sort Peterson,
Yes.
Sort Riley,
Yes,
Sort Travis.
Yes.
motion passes. We'll get that to DLG.
Okay, my quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
Has to do with this money in the bank. You get a little bit of interest, but $3 million, that can add up to some. Is there any restrictions we know of on the money that's earned off of that interest?
One of the guidelines that they're talking, it sounds like that the money, interest that's earned on that money has to be spent on the American Recovery Act funds. I mean, on those kind of line items.
Okay.
But I hope that doesn't come to fruition, but that's the way it sounds right now.
One thing is certain, and I addressed that in my cover letter to you all, is that we will definitely be up for, and we may be subject to a single audit for this term. You're right.
We will probably have a single audit in the next 3 or 4 years.
Anytime you spend over $750,000 of federal funds within a fiscal year, you're required to.
We get the East River Road Bridge by itself, over $750,000, I think, whenever it gets done. So that's going to be a make for a single audit, and this American Recovery Act funds is, they can spend out over a period of time.
I'm not sure what kind of transfers and budget amendments we'll be getting into the current budget by the end of June 30th, because we've got projects out there. We're doing a lot of paving, trying to get some of these FEMA projects started. So it just depends on the timing of it. So anyway, all right. Next up, review and approval of expenditures, purchases, invoices, and transfers. Did pass out invoices. It's important that we add to that, or we can handle it in a separate motion if you want. It's the WEX invoices or fuel purchases. Total amount is $55,5211, and we do need to get that approved today if we want to get that paid. Otherwise, it costs us $300
6% finance charge on that 5,000.
Motion to pay the bills, make the transfers, pay the Wex bill for $55,52.
We've got a motion.
Second.
Got a second. Any comments, questions, or concerns? All go well, call the roll.
Sort Woodward,
Yes.
Sort Mike Moody,
Yes.
Sort Peterson,
Yes.
Sort Riley,
Yes.
Sort Travis.
Yes.
Sort Jerry.
Yes.
All right. We have had a successful live meeting. We have been live streamed on YouTube, but also on Facebook.
What's on Facebook? I don't know about YouTube.
Just Facebook, and I'll put it on YouTube.
Oh, it's on Facebook,
And archive
and it will be archived on YouTube. Okay, so all I need is a motion to adjourn. So moved. Got a motion for Brewer. Second. Seconded by both Moody's. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We're